user gets India account, India account. After 2 days, basically, the big so that is the topic. Basically. We have more than 3 lakh power supply source. On the base of that, only the whole world basically is ongoing. That also you can say. The buildings are standing. Why? Because that 3 lakh power supply basically is generating the power supply. So that's very serious issue basically. So one person told that 3 lakh basically is the power supply which is going to be issued from that land, right? That is one thing basically. Human basically have around more than 900 crore people. So one person told that can we calculate something basically? So he told that one person told that what basically? So calculation is like this: 3 lakh is the source of power supply. Source of power supply means this is the only source of power supply. Power supply means everybody knows the fan basically which is running, that you can see fan. Yes, that is running on the base of power supply. So that power supply. So that only basically we have 3 lakh land basically. That is one calculation. Then basically the calculation is there are 900 crore population in this world. That is one another calculation. For human needs, basically there are around, assume that basically 5 crore buildings basically in this world. In really basically it might be more also less also. Here basically we are taking minimum number. Then one person told that there are more than 5,000 crore vehicles. Everything basically cycle, moped, train, bus, everything, bullet train, everything basically came into this. Then one person told that there are more than 50 crore roads. There are more than 12 lakh lake in this world basically I'm talking about, because the 3 lakh power supply basically is of world basically. So 3 lakh is the source basically of the power supply. So one person told that this is the source basically of the power supply. So this is the source of the power supply basically. So this is one calculation. Then basically he told that there are more than 50 crore petrol pumps. There are more than 1 lakh crore trees. There are 3 lakh power supply basically. That is the land basically, land areas. Then he told that there are more than commercial complex basically, lots of commercial complex are there. So this everything basically is getting power supply from one source only. That is this 3 lakh power supply company basically. That is the 3 lakh power supply land basically. So that is the source basically. So that is the source basically. So one person told that this is the source basically. So this is the source. So one person told that what actually this is basically. More than 900 crore is the human population. So this everything basically, and then basically there are more than 5 lakh energy company, power company, and nuclear power company. They are basically connected with us. Land basically is not directly connected with us. So one person told that what actually this is ongoing. So one person told that it's a process basically that is ongoing. So that power supply basically is generating the process of power. That's why the buildings are standing. That's why big holdings are basically standing. That's why big commercial complexes are standing. That's why the vehicles are basically moving safely. That's why trains are running safely. That's why planes are running safely. That's why vehicles are running safely. Reason that power supply source basically is giving proper power supply. That's why basically it's like this. By chance basically it will not give the proper power supply. Then basically what are the things going to happen? Then basically the cancer disease, the heart attack, the disease. I don't know. The tufan will come. The unexpected rain will fall. The unexpected thing will happen. That basically you might have never seen also basically because 3 lakh land basically is generating power supply, and that combination basically are totally different basically every time. So lots of unexpected thing also basically happen, which government basically might not have thought ever basically. Government might not have thought ever basically. That kind of unexpected thing will happen basically. So for that one person to that, what is the solution basically? Then solution basically is dummy power supply basically company or basically the energy company, that is the nuclear power company basically. They basically have to collect data in advance. But in advance also basically they are collecting where they are going to store the data basically. Because if you are storing the power supply data, it is going to keeps on supplying, keeps on generating the process basically. And it might possible something basically dangerous thing will generate basically. Then basically what you are going to do? You will be responsible. Then one person, the government told that basically, sorry, basically, we are not responsible. So how you will check this basically? Because we solved the problem of cancer disease, that is the cancer disease, and in this previous video basically we solved the problem of cancer and the problem of side effect medicine basically. The medicines are basically always getting side effect. Why? Reason we have discussed in the previous video basically. So same way basically we can do here something basically, because it's a very dangerous thing basically. Because by chance assume that basically some land basically is not generating proper power supply, then what you will do basically? You will wait basically for the cancer disease generation. So that is the issue basically. So one of the person told that that basically is the issue basically, that basically you have to solve basically. So for that basically you have to create the storage data where you are going to store the power data which is going to generate from that land. Lots of things basically are there. Few people basically says that basically you can see this world basically. Then I told that yes basically. That is also power source basically. That is few people basically are telling that power are stored in that environment basically, entire earth planet environment. So that is also very dangerous answer basically. There also basically power source basically are kept basically. But it's very dangerous thing. That is like earth planet basically has converted into nuclear bomb basically. In universe basically. In universe basically earth planet has converted himself basically as a nuclear bomb. And that is basically not good basically. From that, basically, you can't become the asset of the universe basically, by keeping nuclear bomb in Earth planet. Basically. So one person told that suddenly, basically, one person asked the question. Sunil, basically, you got the job. Basically. Sunil and I told that basically, still, basically, I'm trying for the job. Basically. Just right now. So still, basically, I'm trying for the job. Still, basically, you are trying for the job. That was the answer of one of the satellite person. Still, basically, you're trying. Still, we are not got the job. After that, basically, immediately exited from satellite. Then again back to 3 lakh power supply chain basically, which is the most dangerous equipment of the world basically. I'm telling you basically because it is going to finish the entire world basically. Just within 1 or 2 seconds basically, entire world will become powder basically. You will not able to believe it basically. Powder means you understand basically when we basically fires the paper basically, any rough paper or paper basically that becomes powder, black powder basically. That it will become basically. If you are not going to properly handle that, because land is the source of power supply. Land is the source of power supply, and that 3 lakh land basically is created by human basically. How? The vegetables you are eating that required energy basically, right? So one person told that vegetables basically are, we are getting from that land basically, energy basically, yeah, basically. Power supply basically. So one person told that, yeah, if world will become powder basically, then what are the things basically going to happen? That is the question, because nothing will there basically. But that will not happen so soon. Why? Because Earth, planet, whatever thing basically they creates now, that is checked and filtered by the satellite groups and universe group. So big disaster will never happen basically by the Earth, planet creation. That is basically 100% one of the satellite person told. Why? Because whatever thing basically you creates now, that is verified by the universe group basically, satellite group. Then how the big incidence is going to happen basically? So 3 lakh power supply basically land is created by human only basically. So that is not going to generate the power supply. But here the question is the combination basically which power supply is generating and collecting by the nuclear power companies, that might create problem basically in future. But for that also basically lots of groups are there basically who are solving the problem basically. So in previous video basically we solved the problem of side effect of medicines and cancer medicine. So we have solved the problem of cancer also. How cancer happens basically that we know that. But exactly basically one person told that yeah cancer ka combination. What is a cancer combination? Cancer need what? One person basically asked the question. Cancer actually what basically? So he told that few blood cells generate. This happens, that happens. Body parts get damaged. Head basically get damaged. That basically converts to head cancer. Because first basically starts from blood cells only. Sometimes basically ear get damaged. So that converts to ear cancer. But head cancer basically contains everything. Basically. Head cancer basically contains everything basically. So that type of disease basically can generate, yeah, basically. So that's basically not so you have to take not seriously basically. Then one person told that doctors basically are there basically. for the treatment basically. But what about the people basically dies? There is no value of human basically in Earth planet. That only basically somebody has proved basically. Okay, there is no value of human basically. There is no value of human basically. That is the thing basically. That is fact basically. Just a minute. So one person told that how many people basically know about this 3 lakh power supply source? That is also very dangerous thing basically because that is the main basically. If you are going to eat tomato, after that basically it's going to generate blood cells. But that blood cells require the energy basically. Without energy basically it will convert to cancer disease basically. So that power supply basically is given by that land basically. So it's not very dangerous. So whole world basically vegetable power supply is coming from that land basically. That's why the value of that country is. So each country basically have value basically. There are more than 3 lakh power supply source basically, but there are how much country basically? Around 200, 250 basically. Maximum 250 basically countries are there. 250 basically divided by 3 lakh basically. So it's basically, you can just imagine basically how many source basically of power supply of land basically each country basically have. So there is a value of each country basically. There is a value of each country. So one person told that that country basically produce vegetable energies. If you are going to eat tomato and if you are going to take panga with that country will basically not send the power supply of tomato. So that is basically negative side. Basically. But for that basically World Bank is there, World Health Organization basically are there. So they will not allow this type of thing basically. That comes to rules and regulation basically. Why? Because for personal basically thing basically you are not going to use that land basically. You basically can't use for personal enemies. That is different thing. That basically you solve from yourself basically. But here basically if you are not giving the tomato energy basically to that country, then it will convert to lots of disease basically. And that is going to create problem also. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the stuff basically are connected. So one person told that up to what level the stuff basically are created, you can just imagine. So one person told that up to what level the stuff basically are connected, that is C basically. So one person told that up to what level combination the world basically has reached. For example, 3 lakh power supply basically are there, right? So 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh. That is the maximum combination basically, right? After this is the boundary basically of the combination. But Earth planet basically has reached up to what combinations? For that basically nobody might be having the answer. The R&D department basically might be having the answer. Why? Because they are doing the R&Ds. They are basically doing the R&Ds and they are basically creating the combinations, generating the combinations, lots of things basically they are doing. So you can just imagine basically. Just So one person told that, yeah, the things basically has become very dangerous basically. Not dangerous basically, very dangerous. So one person basically told that how many people know that basically there are 3 lakh. First of all, basically, how many people know that basically there are 3 lakh power supply data? That is one thing. Because if you will know this, then only basically you are going to know next, next basically what? Next power of that power supply source. If you know, then only basically you can understand the stuff basically. And then basically if you understand, then basically you will keeps on processing the ideas. We will do this, we will do that, we will do this, we will do that. The nuclear bomb basically which has created in this world, I am telling in this world basically, that is connected with that 3 lakh power supply source. You will not able to believe it basically. That's why nuclear bomb basically are also created, because 3 lakh multiply by 3 lakh. If something basically happens in environment, something bad or basically something unexpected, that time basically a nuclear bomb basically are used. But that basically very rare happens basically. But they sometimes get used also basically. And that's very dangerous thing basically. That's why basically the R&D company basically do lots of R&D. That's why basically they get good money also basically. For example, in software company basically, data analysis and data scientist and data analytical group basically, they basically gets lots of money. Why? Because they are doing the maximum filtration of the data, maximum filtration of the data basically. That's why basically the rest of task basically of the database gets easy. Just a minute. So one person told that basically this is like the world basically. This is a world basically. And in this world basically more than 3 lakh power supply basically are there. One person actually asked the question basically, the god family basically gets power supply from which land basically? So that was very dangerous question basically asked. Normal human basically gets power supply from different land, but what about the god family basically? In this basically world, many god basically are there. Their family basically are on, their family basically are in the earth planet basically. So they basically get special power supply basically. They are not supposed to get any of the disease basically. For example, one tomato basically is create one tomato basically was consumed by one of the person basically, and he's a normal person basically. Suddenly basically something basically happened to that land, so he basically was not able to get the power supply data. So he connected to cancer basically. But this basically very rare happens. But other side basically God family is there. Suddenly something happened to that land, but backup plan was there. So he, that God family basically was not able to connect to cancer disease. Why? Because he's a God family basically. So when God family is searching the job basically, and normal person is searching the job, so there is a huge difference basically. For example, I am searching the job, I am not getting the job as per basically my requirement basically. I am not getting the job only. Basically. So that basically we have discussed in the previous video also, and this video also basically we have discussed that in Mumbai basically there are many jobs basically, but there is no job for Sunil Arnair. Basically. That basically somebody told basically this. Yeah, Sunil basically, are you sure basically you visited Mumbai city basically? Then Sunil Arnair told that yes, basically I visited Mumbai city. Basically. They're basically not got the job. Yeah. That is strange basically. Yeah, basically. Because even basically one poor person basically, that is a beggar basically, go to Mumbai, he also get money. He also get money basically. But you basically not got money basically. So that is also one point basically. That is also one point basically. So that also basically we have discussed lots of time basically. So many time basically we have discussed. So again point to our main thing basically, that is Earth planet basically. That is 2 lakh power, 3 lakh power supply. That is the chain, and in that basically human are basically getting the power supply. The Earth planet basically why exists basically? Because human exist in this world. That's why Earth planet is exist. What is the main source basically of the Earth planet? One person basically asked the question, what is the main source of the Earth planet? Why basically Earth planet exists in the world basically? Why? Because human basically exists in the world basically. That is the main basically. So for that only basically the Earth planet basically each and every departments are doing the hard work basically. So that basically Earth planet human must exist. One person is searching for job. So why basically searching basically? So that he can get money, he can purchase whatever thing basically he want to purchase, so that he can have his next generation. For example, he is not married, so he can have marriage basically. After marriage, basically he can have child basically, and he can basically secure his child basically. And if he is basically is not having child, then he basically can try for the child basically. So for that basically he required the money basically. For that basically he is searching the job basically. So that one person basically told, because satellite group basically don't know what is money, what is job, what is family, but they also might be having family basically in universe. But money basically they don't know basically what is money, because they say that basically and everything basically in Earth planet gets free basically, but nothing basically gets free in Earth planet basically. One person told that I want this one kg apple, so he's going to give me free. No, basically he's not going to give me free. I basically went to one petrol pump. I had basically 300 rupees petrol. So he's going to take 300 from me basically. Free basically nobody basically is going to give. So for money basically you require the job basically. So for money basically you require the job basically. And there are many companies in Vadodara city also basically Sunil. That basically you have not tried. One of the satellite person basically asked the question. That basically you have never tried basically. Then Sunil and I told them basically yes basically I had tried basically. But there also basically I not got the job. In Mumbai, basically, you are not local, basically, but here, basically, you are local person, basically. So you should get job, yeah, basically. One of the satellite person, basically, told. Because they don't know what is money. When basically I explained job, basically, that time, basically, they got the information that job like basically is there. And to earn money, basically, you have to do the job. And to start the family, basically, you have to get the job. To do the marriage, basically, you have to get the job. To earn the money, basically. Then basically the satellite group basically understood basically what actually Sunil basically want to tell. And this basically we have discussed many times basically in many videos basically. And we have discussed that also basically that satellite group basically are telling basically what is job basically we don't know. Then basically I have explained also many times basically what is job, what is marriage, what is family next generation basically, what is delivery, everything basically we have discussed. and that we have discussed many times. Basically, it's not like that. Basically, we have not discussed. We have discussed this many times. So one person told that you basically went to Mumbai, basically. Right? So there was no one basically in Mumbai, basically your friend or basically your relative, basically who can help you, basically. Then Sunila man told that nobody helped Sunila. Nobody helped Sunila. And that also we have discussed many times. So every time basically we can discuss this topic. Then one of the person told you are not getting job. So you are keep discussing. You are keep discussing. You are not getting the job. Just a minute. So one person told that that's very strange basically, yeah, that you are not getting the job. In Mumbai city you have not got the job. And in Mumbai basically big businessmen basically are there. So you are basically just want you basically just asked a few one small job here basically. Nothing basically. You have basically not asked भाई मेरे को मुंबई चाहिए. I have not asked that basically. I have just asked one job basically. So that I can start my family basically. I can do the marriage and I basically can have the next generation also basically, after doing marriage basically. That only basically I asked with Mumbai basically. But they are not given basically. Then basically again basically satellite group basically told you basically again try basically again basically start applying basically for the job basically and let me know basically the status of the job basically. One of the satellite person basically told me basically. Then basically I have applied basically today also in many jobs. Let's see basically what answer basically I get from the recruiter, from the company, and from the sources of group where basically I have submitted my biodata. So one person told that you are basically submitting biodata, basically, right? You are basically submitting the biodata, you are basically applying the biodata, you basically went to Mumbai, you went to Bangalore, you basically went to this, that, each and every place basically and submitted the biodata and basically there was no response. That means you basically came from which land basically. Then I told them basically that basically need to check basically when basically I got the birth, who was that energy company, who was that human souls company. That everything basically I need to check basically. Then only basically I can get basically power company basically taken that my human source basically from where, which land, from which land. Why basically I told this? Because I had taken one example of 10 crore projects, 100 crore child basically dumped into the 100 crore child human energy beside that is the human souls basically which is dumped into the lava. That is basically in that land basically. That we have discussed many times basically. Same way basically I basically came from which land basically. Somebody asked me basically, from satellite. So one person told that yeah, that means basically that land basically anybody might be can able to track this basically. Then one person said that basically it's very difficult thing here basically. The question basically which you ask, that's very dangerous basically because the which might where might be that land or basically it might possible that power supply the land basically which generated the power supply that lava data basically that lava data might have converted into water basically. That is possible basically. So it might be in sea basically. It might be in sea basically. So that basically question basically we are raised with the one of the satellite group basically. They are telling that basically we will give you answer soon basically. Where basically Sunilar Nair water exist in sea. So that is very dangerous thing basically. So that also basically somebody basically told that that is very dangerous thing basically. Nobody asked us basically this type of question basically. In after basically the Earth planet basically got birth. You are the first person basically who asked this question basically. After Earth planet basically got birth basically, there was not a single human basically who basically asked that this whole question basically, which basically I have asked in this video and previous video and many videos basically we have asked. That's why we have finished Earth planet also many times basically. But now basically we are thinking totally different basically. 103 times basically Earth planet has ended. Why they basically ended the world basically? That is also a question basically. That is also a question basically. Why they ended the world? The Earth planet basically was not asset that time. Just a minute. That time basically the Earth planet was not asset. Then one person told that that time basically what is asset basically that also basically many few people basically might be knowing what actually the asset is. But nowadays, basically, each and every people basically converts themselves to asset basically. That I am basically planning to convert myself as a asset basically for the company. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the world basically has reached. World basically has reached. So one person basically actually asked the question: in this world basically, how much money basically is required and how much money basically gets print? Because that data basically 100% might be why, because currency department they are printing the data and rest of group basically are telling that basically we are keeping the expense data also. So if you that compare basically, then you can basically easily able to get the information. One person told that why basically you are telling like this, because this is connected with that combination basically, that is 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh, the number basically which you get, that is the printing data basically, that is a currency printing, that is connected with that 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh, that is a 3 lakh power supply source. Few people says that when basically the power supply source will get over, that time basically we get the information from the currency department. So just see basically how the tracking device basically has created by one of the group basically. It's a tracking device basically, tracking device of this is going to get over. For example, one person told that um, your petrol basically gets over basically, how you know that basically through the indicator basically. Same way basically here is also like that. The 3 lakh power supply source is there, which power supply source is getting over basically, and according to that the creator basically, that who created the lava data, they basically do the updation basically. How they do basically that we don't know, because they are also not god basically, that they will see that land and basically they say that basically भाई इसका power supply खत्म हो गया, that basically they can't do. Why? Because they are not god basically. God only basically can do this type of stuff. And basically he will see through the land, and then basically he will say, Bhai, this power supply is got over basically, so just do something basically to that land. That only God can do. Normal human basically have to check everything basically. Source is required, data is required, each and every stuffs are required, machines are required. then only basically he can do. The God basically can tell that basically like this. So you can just imagine how the world is created. I basically can't imagine it. Because if one person basically is keeping the currency department as a reminder basically of the power supply which is getting generated, that is combination basically 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh. So you can just imagine basically how the world is connected. How the world is connected, you can just imagine basically. You can just imagine basically. I can't imagine basically. Yeah. 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh. Currency department basically are printing money daily. Expense basically are happening. This all connected with the power supply data basically. Because if health is not good, then what basically you are going to do basically? If health is okay, then basically it's okay basically. If health is not good basically, then what you are going to do with money basically? But without money basically, health can't be good basically. That is also question basically. One person told that yeah basically, if you want that your body should be good, each and every body parts should is not supposed to damage, then basically you should daily basically drink combination of juice, that is the carrot, grapes, apple, pineapple, banana, then papayas. Like this is a combination of fruits basically you have to drink. The juice basically you have to drink. For that basically money is not required. One person told that basically. He basically given the idea basically. That if you want to be healthy, you have to do this, that way. But he basically and then basically he told that enjoy. After this word basically he told all that also. Enjoy the world. Sorry. Enjoy the what basically he told just a minute. Enjoy the life basically. That he told actually. But to enjoy the life, basically, you required money. That basically you had no nobody has told you. Nobody has told you that basically to enjoy the life, basically you required money. That basically nobody has told you. Every time basically you tell enjoy, enjoy. But for that basically money is required to do the enjoy. So one person told that this is the world basically. And that world depends upon that 3 lakh source of power supply, which is checked by the universe group basically. Because whatever creation basically you do in this world basically, that is confirmed basically 100% checked by the universe group only. Without their permission basically nothing happens here. I have taken one example basically. One person told that how basically the computer is getting on basically. Then one of the person told that are you basically fool or basically came from some jungle basically, you don't know the power supply basically which gets on. From that basically the computer gets on basically. Then he told that basically the 850 crore power supply basically of India basically, that is 850 crore computers of India basically, how that is getting on. Then basically there was no answer basically of that basically. Why? Because that was something unexpected question basically. And this unexpected question basically is what 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh. Daily basically you get unexpected questions and there is no answer of that. Same way basically, one person basically told that what is the power supply combination? What is the power supply combination? That is the 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh basically. That is the power supply combination. But what is the question basically? There basically you get daily some new question basically. So you have answer of that basically. You basically have the answer of that question. Basically, you basically ask the question that basically 850 crore computers basically are getting on in India, that is connected with that land. So do you have basically answer of this? That where is that land? Then one person told that basically need to check here basically. Otherwise basically some one day basically the computer will get off basically. Then what you are going to do basically? Then one person told that that is not possible. Why? Because Canada basically is a partner of India basically. Partner basically you basically understand basically what I want to say. Then he basically will never do this type of activity basically. He can't switch off 850 computers basically at just within 1 second basically. That basically he can't do here basically. Why? Because he's a partner of India, and partner basically you understand basically international partner basically. And if you are international partner, then basically rules and regulation basically are there. Lots of basically things basically are there. International law basically comes into the picture. So lots of things basically are there. So they will never do this basically. Why? They are partner. Basically. So just so partner basically that means weakness. Both know basically each weakness, and we have discussed basically lots of point basically about the Canada and India basically. That 95,000 crore money was collected. That was one that was created by one of the Canadian basically. That we have discussed lots of time. So here basically we are not discussing that basically because we have discussed that basically. So one person told that yeah, Canada will do this basically or it will not do basically. One of the person basically literally every time basically asks basically because he might have got some doubt basically. Or basically he might have saw something in Canada basically. That might possible basically. Because nobody basically gets doubt in his brain basically. Something basically he might have saw. According to that only basically he got the doubt basically. That basically 850 crore computer will get off one day, one day, one day, one day. It will get off or it will not get off. So that basically question always basically keeps on circulating in his brain basically. Why? Because he might have saw something. And that's so basically it might be true also and it might be wrong also because you can't predict basically until basically you don't have the proof basically. If you don't have any proof, then basically how you are going to predict basically. That is the thing basically, yeah. That is the thing basically. That is the stuff basically. So one person told that what is this here? This is basically one of the style basically of the specs. I basically got this style from one of the my friend. Basically. My virtual friend, basically, one of the virtual friend. And I basically never saw also. So one person told that yeah, 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh. That is the combination, right? And vegetable basically what you are eating, that energy basically we are getting from that land. Like this basically vehicles basically are running. That also basically you want to say that something basically power supply is giving. That's why the vehicle are also getting on. So you want to say that basically directly. Then 1% of the yes basically we are telling this directly basically. That is the land basically from where the car basically is running in the road na basically. That is running on the base of that land power supply. That land you can see? Yes. That is the land basically which is giving the power supply of car basically. So that was shocking basically, yeah, basically. That means you want to say that each and everything basically which is running. That is running on the base of power supply. The buildings are standing straight, not moving left, not moving right. Big holding basically are standing straight, not moving left and not moving right. Because if holding will move left, right, basically, if it will move left, then basically it will move permanently left, basically. So that basically is not about the building, basically. Building basically can move left and right also. But in India, basically, this type of thing never happens, right? Because in India, basically, this type of thing has never happened. Indian public basically has never seen this type of dangerous thing. That is, a building is moving here, there. Basically. That only happens in Japan, China. India has never seen this. India has never seen this type of activities. That only Japan, China, America basically had seen. That is moving building light, left. So one person told that basically. Do you have the data of stable data and unstable data? Because 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh, that is stable data and unstable both data. Stable means everything is stable, nothing is basically happening. Stable means building is moved, standing straight position, vehicles are moving in straight position, sea water basically is at the same position, it's not entering into the city. The long tall buildings basically are standing at the straight position, it's not moving left and not moving right. That is stable. Unstable means building will move left, sea water will come to sea water will come to city. Then basically the tree will fall automatically. Holding will basically fall automatically. It will basically moving to left, then it will permanently move to left. These all are basically the unstable basically. So one person problem, yes, are unstable here basically. So stable and unstable. That's all basically. This is the world. And that comes to that power supply land. That is the 3 lakh power supply basically land. That's all basically. This is the world. Power supply basically creates the human needs that connects to stable data and unstable data. The simple world basically is there basically. If you understand the simple world, that is this 3 lakh power supply, 3 lakh multiplied by 3 lakh combination, stable data, unstable data, 3 lakh company multiplied by 3 lakh created human needs, lots of human needs in this world basically more than 20 to 30 lakh human needs basically are there. They are doing the combinations with the help of this power supply company. That is the land basically, which is connected with the power supply company. So these all basically are simple world basically. Rest of thing basically that you have created basically on the base of that power supply. That is the land power supply. That is the source basically. This everything basically are the source basically. So you can just imagine basically the data. Just a minute. So one person told that yeah, but really basically this is that basically you want to say that that land basically is giving the power supply for vehicles basically you want to say that basically. But that land basically directly doesn't give the power company, nuclear power company, they basically collects the data and then basically they sends the data to environment basically. Then only basically your vehicle starts basically. Your car basically gets you basically enters the key. Then how basically your car basically starts? How basically your car starts? That is through that power supply basically. Nothing is happening automatically in this world. Mark my word basically. Nothing is happening automatically. Something basically has done in this world. That's why something basically is happening. Something means car is getting start. But why it is getting start? Because the power supply has given to that city. That's why. Because that car energy is going to generate lots of things basically. That example basically I have already taken Microsoft 1 lakh condition basically. From that 1 lakh basically one of the condition was given to the car company. That we have already discussed basically. That process basically is that. So it's very dangerous thing here basically. It's very dangerous thing basically. It's not so easy to run the world basically. It's not so easy to run the world. One of the person basically from satellite only basically he told. That's why for the 100 time, 3 time basically world has ended. Because it's not lots of people says that यार ये तो बच्चों का काम है to run the world basically. But it's not so easy basically to run the world. So see the combination basically is 3 lakh land data which need to check basically whether it is supplying the data or basically not. Supplying the data means power supply basically is generating from that land or not. That basically you have to check. For that basically you don't have any source because you can't keep the power supply data in somewhere basically for particular time basically. Otherwise basically it will generate something else data. So lots of things basically are there. So you can just imagine basically how the world basically has connected, how the world basically has created, how the world basically has created, 'So you can just imagine basically the world creation, how it has created. So just a minute. So you can just imagine basically how the world basically has created. So here basically the combination is what? 3 lakh multiply by 3 lakh and which is getting tracked basically by set of groups. So in this video basically we discussed lots of things, basically, lots of things. We generated lots of things. We created lots of data science project. We created lots of project for the companies also. And lots of things basically we have created also. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.